What's up, guys? It's Mr. Janvet, and today we're back for another episode of On the Contrary. I decided to just make this a podcast episode because, one, I haven't done one in a long time, and two, I'm going to be talking about a very important concept that I think will help a lot of people. I mean, this stuff has never been discussed before, ever. So, I'm not talking about just in Pokemon. Guys, we're going into arenas that are untrodden, and I'm excited for a new book coming out on this topic and how you can leverage video games to improve your life, like actually, not just you feel better about yourself, but actually change your brain. So writing that. So that's why I've been kind of MIA. Forgive more. So yeah, today we're going to be discussing a new concept that really struck me recently, and that is how there are actually two reasons or two things you need to improve to get good at any game or anything, right? So since this is a Pokemon audience, I'm going to relate it to Pokemon, but I'm also going to draw a different analogy so you can better understand. So the first thing you need to understand is that you are the avatar. You've heard me say this concept before. If you haven't, I'll explain it. You are the avatar basically says that how you show up, who you are as a person, is who you tend to be as a Pokemon player. So oftentimes people assume, well, when they play on the ladder and they rage and they, cuss the opponent out, or they quit after a little bit of adversity, or they just whatever nasty behavior, whatever behavior they're not proud of, or even whatever positive behavior, if they're very optimistic, if they're very confident, if they're very resilient, if they're very proactive, those behaviors are a result of who you are as a person. You are the avatar. So however you show up in Pokemon is likely how you show up in another game, and in another game, and in another game. But people like to blame Pokemon. Oh, it's because of Pokemon. Now, if you don't enjoy it, that's different. But if you're not enjoying it just because you can't handle a loss, that's a reflection of who you are as a player. And that's going to go into our next point. So the first concept is you are the avatar. The second concept is there are actually two important things to master. And this is actually very exciting. There's the player, and then there's the game. Now, that seems obvious, and I hope it does. This is not meant to be confusing or anything. Hopefully, I'm explaining it simply. But I don't know if you've ever thought about it in this way. Because when you observe somebody that's good at a particular activity, you merge the two. They're good at that thing. However, oftentimes, and this is what a lot of people, hundreds up this point that I've worked with over the past year, have come to realize, there's the player. You are the avatar, who you are in your brain, your nervous system, how you show up when you get challenged. How do you deal with adversity? Are you optimistic? Are you thinking losing is good? Are you like, screw it? Or are you like, okay, the opponent hacks me. Okay, these guys are lucky. It's only because of team matchup. Those are traits unique to the player, because not everybody thinks the same about the same activity. So a person, you'll have 5 people who lose, and all 5 of them think about the loss differently. That's because they're different players. When I'm talking about players, I'm talking about the actual brain. So imagine just an android. In fact, that's the example I'm going to use. Imagine just a robot. And each robot has been programmed differently. One has been programmed to think everything is the opponent's fault. One is programmed to believe everything is because Pokemon is a stupid game. One is programmed to believe that, let's just use 3 programming. One is programmed to believe that every obstacle can be overcome, right? If you just let those robots run, they're all going to get different outcomes because they're different. They have different programming. They have a different brain, because your brain is your computer, and computers get programmed. That's how they run. So depending on the programming you received as a child, or programming that you decided to adopt just in going through your life, it matters what kind of player you are. Now, I'm pointing that out because it also matters how skilled at the game you are. So this is the skill part, and the player part is what we refer to as mindset. So skill set versus mindset. How is your mind set up? How do you perceive a loss, a win? How do you perceive hardship? That determines how much your skill set develops. Going back to the robots. So if that's true, then you can really detach yourself from the situation and say, well, am I having a skill set issue or am I having a mindset issue? Right? Is it a matter of my thinking or is it a matter of my doing? So let's use a different example. Let's say we are playing basketball, right? Or soccer or whatever. And you have a player that trains day in, day out. He just trains, follows the process, yada, 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 yada. But as a player, so he works on his game. He learns the rules. He, practices how to dribble if it's basketball or soccer, makes 1,000 shots, whatever, in practice. However, when he hits the field, that's when the player component of him is going to matter a lot. What's his mindset? What happens when, he embarrasses himself on the field or on the court, when he misses a shot, when a player fouls him and he doesn't get the call? How does he perceive? How is he as a player, as a person, as a human? How does his brain perceive those situations? So if he perceives it negatively and in a maladaptive manner, right? Like, oh, woe is me. Oh, this game isn't fair. The ref should have seen that. Oh, no. But if that's how he perceives events, if that's how he's programmed his brain to be, if that's who she is as a player, the avatar, then it follows that their skills will not blossom in the way that they could. So doesn't mean that they're not practicing. It just means that their programming as a player is inefficient. It's not the best it could be. So when I emphasize the mindset component of the game and people are like, yo, Jam, what are you talking about? That mindset shit, bro. The attitude shit, bro. It's just a game. You have a shit brain. No, you don't have a shit brain, but you have a shit perspective. And I'm just going to keep it very raw with you. Right? That's it. Now, did I have it at one point? Absolutely. Like, it's really a miracle that for how much of a fixed mindset I had as a young, Jam coming up at 18 and doing so well. It really was just an alignment of I actually was good at this and I cared enough. So I got over my ego. But it was not by any means purposeful. My mindset was completely horrible. And I've had to unlearn all this. And so a lot of the success, man, the amount of people we've gotten to number one, tournament success, all these things, no one on earth, and I say this humbly, I just want to give context to the information. Like, I'm not giving you advice. I'm not giving you theory, right? I'm giving you the answer. Now, you can accept it or reject it. That's free will. But I want to make this very clear that I'm not advising you, right? And this is crazy. I don't go over every result. I try to show some of them in the beginning of the videos, but it's insane how many people that are number one, top 10, whatever, more so than anyone else on earth, I've gotten results for. Directly, like PMs on PMs on messages, and then they send me the screenshot. Unspeakable amounts. And the fastest. And that's just a fact. And again, I'm not saying that to brag. I don't give a damn about your, Jam, really? I don't care about that. But I do want you guys to understand, because there's a lot of people who are just banging their head on the wall against, is that the expression? You know what I mean. When they don't need to. And so hopefully this clarification in the player versus skill, or the game, the actual game you're playing thing, is clear. And so how can that loop back into your real life? Now, if you're focusing on it, and this is where you always hear people say, man, the game taught me a lot about life, or Pokemon is very similar to life, or karate or martial arts taught me a lot about how to deal with life, or the military, or that's because those are all just different games. But games, you affect the game and the game affects you. The game develops you just as much as you're playing the game. So if you got a basketball player who has this particular goal, he can't remain the same person he was in the beginning. By definition, he wouldn't have improved. So in order for him to improve, he must change. For him to change, he must change his brain first, which is a mindset thing. He must change as a player, how he thinks and how he perceives. And so as he develops his brain, then his skills come along afterwards, because now I got the right mindset, right? When I get hit, I'm not, woe is me, oh my God, fuck you, bro, oh no, right? It's not that. He's developing as a player. And so the more he does that and engage with that game, it actually develops him as a person, because it's required for him, because he's not competing with the best if he doesn't fix this, right? If he doesn't get over his damn self, if he doesn't learn losing is good and learn to reflect, like, he's not going to make it. Facts. So it's again, as I said, this isn't advice, right? And I sound a bit more intense in this one, but I really want this to land. Typically, my communication style is very laid back, right? But I really want to hammer this point in. This is not advice. So you can listen to this and go do what you've been doing, and you will continue to get what you've been getting. And if you're not happy with what you've been getting, something needs to change. So remember, you're the avatar, right? So anything you inject yourself into, whether it be basketball, soccer, Pokemon, Minecraft, whatever, you're injecting your player into that game. And the player is who you are as a person, how you think, how you perceive. Secondly, there's a split between the player and the game. You need to develop both. So you can't just have a great mindset and you never do shit, right? You still got to practice. But you also can't just practice and have a shit mindset, right? So attitude matters. And then lastly, as you affect the game also affects you. It's symbiotic. So if you're honing how you think about things in Pokemon, it is actually changing your brain. Now, there's context stuff, so you can have situational confidence. You may see a person like that, or at the job, or when they're around their friends, they're loud and proud, but you take them out of that context, they lose their confidence. So, there are things that we're going to have to go over that that touch more into the, having a deep understanding of the principles so you can apply it in other areas of your life. But it's still there. And the way I'm going to be teaching this moving forward will give you more of the understanding in a general way, so that you're not just, you have a great mindset when you play Pokemon, but when you're, at work or building your business or at school, you have a shit mindset. And I can't tell you how many people with the school stuff, I can't begin to, how many people switch their grades around using these simple principles. So that's why the what did I learn, what did I do well component is so important, because it develops the person first. And that's why a lot of people from just doing that will go from 1,200 to 1,700 in a week. And I haven't taught them any skill, new skills, because there's player development and there's skill development. So that's where I'm going to end it, because I'm feeling like I'm about to ramble. But yeah, I'm actually quite happy with this for how much off the cuff it is. So if you want to work one-on-one directly with me, then click the link in the description. Sign up. There's a new month coming around, so I'll have a few new people. And I might have somebody that I worked with recently. I'm just so proud of him. This very thing that I'm talking with you guys about, I'll just say it's just crazy. It's just crazy. I really want you guys to succeed. So again, You can accept or reject the answer. That's free will. I don't have a horse in that race. Is that how it goes? You can fail if you want. I don't care about that. I just want you to know that you could succeed if you chose to. So hit the like button. Share this video if you know anybody that could benefit from this. Invite them to the academy. We'll happily welcome them. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.